Hey you. Welcome to vlog number 3 in the 13 weeks daily vlogs. I'm going to be vlogging every day for 13 weeks straight, talking about all kinds of things, um, mostly about what's going on uh, throughout my days or whatever I'm working on or anything I feel like would be useful to just capture. Um, and sharing it with you guys. These are strictly 10 minutes long. If I go over or under, that's fine. There's no timer or anything. But I'm looking to make them to about a 10-minute minimum. So um, yeah. So today I'm going to be talking about a recent podcast I listened to on called The Knowledge Project. That's the name of the podcast. And I'm going to be talking about one piece of it. It's not the full thing. It's about an hour and 30 minutes long podcast, but I'm going to share my thoughts and insights on a piece of it and how it relates to my life, I guess, and my experiences with that particular topic. Um, Anyone looking for a fresh perspective on how to cool down your emotions, when they get out of control or anything like that, stick around. This is sort of what I'm going to be sharing with you. Um, and basically, it's just going to provide some pretty useful information when you're under stress or trying to make a decision, and then your emotions sort of flare up, right? We've all had that problem. So jumping right into it, I'm just going to kind of highlight you know, what this podcast is, and who runs it. Um, it's called Farnham Street is the name of the I guess website that runs it. But again, it's called The Knowledge Project. It's on Spotify and all the other different places. But this particular guy, um, Shane Parrish, he invited over Maria Konnikova. Um, she is a writer for the New Yorker, a psychologist, and recent professional poker player. And in this podcast, they talk about her mentors, um, about how she learned poker, especially because she didn't play poker at all, and became a grand champion or something like that. I could be wrong on these terminologies. I don't play poker, as you can tell. And then she talks about, making decisions in environments of uncertainty. Obviously, poker is a game where you're sort of going based off of the information that's given to you. And so she talks a little bit about that. And then she talks about something that I want to talk through is cooling down your emotions when they get out of control. Um, and one particular word she used, which I found interesting, is the word tilt. Um, and personally, that means something else when I think of tilt. I think of gaming, because I grew up with gaming. It's something that in the gaming community, when you are playing and you're not playing well, or you're again letting your emotions get the best of you, and you're just playing terribly and like being toxic and being loud and not being a great person overall, which happens to all of us, um, then you are tilted. And you could be tilted but not flare up in sort of an angry way, but it's just letting your emotions drive your decisions in game, and it comes out in different ways for different people. And so she mentioned this piece, and she was talking about how she was trained to learn how to not get tilted, because the minute you're tilted is the minute you lost the game, or the chances of you making a bad decision increase exponentially. Um, and so she just goes into it and talks about how when you're playing the game of poker, or specifically that you try to tilt your teammate, or your, excuse me, not your teammate, but your opponent, which is interesting, So like there's certain things that people will say to her, being a female, in such a male-dominated space. She gave a great example of how this guy kept calling her little girl, and it got under her skin, and she turned out lost. She busted, was what is called in poker, but she lost that particular series because she let that guy get under her skin, and there was just this one thing that he said, very toxic and just not cool at all. Um, but it's that kind of thing where it's people, getting under your skin, saying something that it could be malice, but it could be just it could be culture, it could be anything. It could be all kinds of things, but it's that particular thing that really gets under your skin. And so I was recently just talking to my mom. Shout out to my mom. Um, big patient, big mentor of mine. Um, and she works at a big hospital in the city as a director. She's a patient care director, so in the nursing field. And she was talking about how someone was just really, and this is something that happens to her all the time, but someone said something to her that tilted her, um, and got under her skin and really just, it was just not right, right? So she was, I won't get into the specifics, but basically it's that kind of thing. And so me and my mom, we talked about all different kinds of things of like how people say certain things and it gets under your skin and then you're just like you lose it, right? You just like, no, these people, this person's gonna get it. Like they're gonna um just like they're gonna hear it all. Um so reason I wanted to talk about this topic because right now we're living in a very strange time. People are still very anxious, obviously, because of everything going on and in the world, whether it's the elections, the protests, um, the diseases, the deaths, the things that are going on, um, and it's not easy. Um, it's not easy. And my mom was and her partner recently, a few months ago, like 2 or 3 months ago, were tested positive for COVID. And, it's that kind of thing that, like, even now, so right now, emotions are flaring up for me, just even talking about this. Um, but it's that kind of thing where somebody says something because they're just dealing with the things that they're dealing with in their lives and just blurt something out, um, and just say it out of protection, I think. I'm not a psychologist either, so I'm not really sure, but you know, a lot of people say certain things to like protect their insecurities um or try to put their things or their problems onto each other, and it's tough. It's tough. One thing I believe in is that we should all be supporting each other as much as we can, and we're all human, so have that understanding that we're all on the same page, no matter what walk of life you come from. And one thing to take away is that, and I shared this with some of my close friends and um, even strangers, honestly, is that the one thing I know is that toxicity breeds more toxicity. Um, and that's one spectrum, and then the other side of the spectrum, one smile multiplies 10x, when you smile to someone, or when you do a good deed, So with everything that's going on, just take a second. Um, I believe that like people are scared. There's a fear. There's definitely a big fear out there, and just using that moment to realize to take a deep breath and um, you're gonna be okay, there's a freedom in the space between when something's happening to you and or what's happening to you and how you react to it. Um, and you have a choice. This isn't new news, right? We all have that freedom and everybody practices it in different ways. But a couple seconds left here. So I think I'm gonna wrap it up. But basically, if you're tilting, if you're tilted, just be aware of it and spread love, you know? Be cool. Be cool. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for listening. If you haven't already, gosh, this sounds so cliche. Um, Follow me on all the different platforms. I'm gonna be active on TikTok, Instagram, um, same handle at UltiMichaelV. Um, and I just recently posted a link tree with my personal website that's being under construction. I'm looking to post a blog or throw up a blog post by this weekend. So um, look at that. I'm over time. Anyway, whoops. Bye.